Hello, my name is Christian Williams. This is for my Circ10 C Attempt. The date is November 27th of 2021. So for this Circ attempt, we are using a temperature um, reading component. Essentially how it does this is by sending a change in voltage. This sensor does not necessarily require any calibration like the photoresistor that we used in a previous one. Um, so the results should be a little better. We just have to convert it since our sensor is able to detect negative values. So the Circ-C, we are just copying a bunch of code. Um, this is an analog sensor, so we're going into analog 0. You could put 0 or A0, and both will work. This information right here is information specific to our sensor. It gives us a resolution, if you want to think of it that way, of how many megavolts per degree centigrade our system can detect. We are also using a different something new called serial. This is our there is a way to get the Arduino to communicate information to us based off of the text without actually having something like a piezo or something like that built into the circuitry itself. And what that is up here in the upper right serial monitor. You can set up different conditions to give you a bunch of readings. You can see a bunch of numbers up there. I'll explain what those numbers are in a bit. And this basically gives us information. This is our, I believe it's bandwidth, I think is what it refers to, or how much information or bits or something like that. This has to be calibrated to this, so you can see down here in the very bottom right, 960 or 9600, sorry. Then we are moving on to our void loop. We are setting a float, which that basically means decimals. That we can use decimals here. The temperature is equivalent to the voltage that we get from the temperature pin, so we get a voltage reading. And that temperature, we have to remove our offset and multiply it by 100, and this gives us our Celsius reading. This is that formula right here. And then we are telling the serial print to, in that serial monitor, print what that new temperature value is. And then it'll give us a new value every second. Then for get voltage, how we do that is this is also a float, and we are just going to be reading from that pin and multiplying it by this magical number here, which converts it to this from this range to a 5-volt range, because our Arduino currently is powering the breadboard using only 5 volts. So this is, you can basically kind of think of this similar to the map function that we've used earlier. Okay, now to get into the serial monitor. So in theory, those values are in Celsius, which if I pull up my little thing here, that means my room, let's try that again here. Is about 53 degrees. It's about 50 to 60 degrees. However, I kind of wanted to record this for my C attempt because I've been doing a lot of troubleshooting with this entire week, and I just wanted to document this somewhere. Apparently, I have an electrical fault somewhere because you can see that I can get 9.5 and so on, so I'm going to zoom very out. Currently, in the right hand of my laptop is where the USB cord that sends power and signal to the Arduino board. So this is my Arduino board here. You can see the temperature sensor, ground power connected over here with the analog 0 over here. And all that temperature sensor is doing is basically taking in the temperature, and then I don't remember exactly what kind of component is in there that's changing the voltage, but checks the temperature. For some reason, when I touch this cable or get close to it, you can see the temperature has dropped to about 2 degrees centigrade, which is just barely above freezing. And then when I let go, you can see the numbers immediately start jumping up to 12. So I've actually had to like kind of get as far away as I can from this thing, because I'm not sure how, but I think there's an electrical fault where it is offsetting the voltage that is going to the board. Like you could see it just went to negative 0.2 degrees centigrade, if I'm to believe this thing. So clearly there's some electrical problems going on somewhere between my laptop or the board or the cable connecting the two or so on. But in a perfect world, this would just be pulling out centigrade. So I want to point that out because you're probably going to see a lot of those numbers kind of fluctuating as we kind of move on with this uh, COM serial port. So again, just for the record, if you see any weird numbers, it's probably because of my proximity to one of the components here that's causing it to suddenly get below freezing. It is not actually below freezing in my bedroom. So that weird tangent aside, that is my Circ10 C attempt. I will see you in the B attempt.